It began with a scream at the reception desk. "Something's outside!" People turned, startled, and then the automatic doors of Evergreen Medical Center slid open. Sunlight flooded the lobby, and standing in the doorway was a gorilla. A hush fell over the room. He was enormous, his dark fur matted with dust and leaves, his shoulders rising and falling with heavy breaths. But his eyes weren't wild. They were tired, sad, human. In his arms he carried a torn cloth sack, clutched close to his chest like something precious. Every few seconds the sack twitched, faintly. A security guard froze mid-step. One nurse, Grace, whispered, "Dear Lord, what is he holding?" Another nurse, Maya, clutched her clipboard to her chest, eyes wide. But the gorilla didn't growl, he didn't roar. He just walked, slow, steady, his steps echoing on the white tile floor. When he reached the center of the lobby, he stopped. And for a few endless seconds, everything, the chatter, the machines, even the air, he stood still. Then from the far end of the corridor, a woman's voice called out, "Wait, I know him." The crowd turned. It was Dr. Elena Hayes, the wildlife doctor. 3 years earlier, she had been called to rescue a wounded gorilla found near the forest edge, trapped in a poacher's snare, bleeding, barely alive. She'd treated him right here in this very hospital when the sanctuary was under renovation. She remembered how his eyes followed her every move, scared, confused, but trusting. And when he healed, she released him back into the wild. That day, as the cage door opened, he turned once and looked straight at her, and vanished among the trees. Now he was here again. Elena's voice trembled. "It's okay, it's me," she whispered, stepping closer. The gorilla stared at her, chest heaving. Then, slowly, he knelt down. Gasps filled the room. He pressed his huge hands together, palms trembling, and held them against his chest. Not in anger, not in threat, but in plea. Maya covered her mouth. "He's asking for help," she whispered. Elena took another cautious step. "You can trust me," she said softly. The gorilla lowered the cloth sack gently to the floor, then sat back on his heels. Elena knelt beside it. Her fingers shook as she untied the corners. Inside lay a tiny baby monkey, barely breathing. Its fur stuck to its skin, coated in glue and dirt, its heartbeat faint. "Oh my God," Grace murmured. "It's alive," Elena said sharply. "Get warm blankets, glucose, now." Maya sprinted down the hall. Grace grabbed a towel. Elena lifted the fragile creature in her hands, pressing it against her chest for warmth. "Hold on, little one," she whispered. "You're safe now." As she turned to leave, she glanced back. The gorilla was still there, motionless, watching through the glass, his chest rising with one deep, trembling breath. Elena's voice cracked softly. "You remembered," she whispered. The gorilla blinked slowly, then turned toward the sunlight. He stepped through the open doors, his shadow stretching across the floor, and disappeared into the brightness beyond. Days passed. The baby monkey survived. They named her Mira, meaning miracle. One afternoon, Elena stood in the hospital garden, watching Mira climb a small tree. Grace joined her, smiling. "She's strong, you think he knows?" Elena looked toward the forest beyond the fence. In the distance, under the golden sky, a dark silhouette stood, quiet, massive, and still. The gorilla watched them, half hidden among the trees. For a long moment, no one moved. Then Elena opened the garden gate and whispered, "She's safe now, you can go home." The monkey leapt into the sunlight, free again. The gorilla turned away, fading into the green horizon. Peaceful, steady, and silent. That day, the wild didn't bow to fear. It bowed to mercy. Because even the strongest hearts, no matter how wild, remember the hands that once showed them kindness, and maybe that's the lesson we keep forgetting. That compassion isn't weakness, it's strength in its purest form. So tell me, if a creature of the wild can remember an act of kindness for years, what's stopping us humans from doing the same? If this story touched your soul, leave a heart in the comments, share it with someone who needs hope, and subscribe, because kindness deserves to be remembered.